What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to TGP Talks, the Game Paradigm Talks. In the last episode, we went over everything E3, everything that I wanted to see, everything that was confirmed, everything that was rumoured. Sort of rounded it all up packaged it in a nice little present with a bow. This week, we're going to be talking a bit more news-related stories. So instead of talking about I said this week, I mean in this episode. In this episode, we're going to talk a bit more about news. So it's going to be a couple of minutes on each thing, talk about a few different stories that have come up. Because of the past few days, there's been quite a bit of news. There's quite a bit of stuff that's interesting to talk about. And yeah, so it's going to be different in that sense. But without further ado, I'm just going to get straight into it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, I'm going to, start by saying that, again, I'm not a die-hard Red Dead Redemption fan. I got the game and when it was on Xbox 360, and I only played the multiplayer. I didn't really play the single player. My friend told me to get it because it was cheap at the time, and so I bought it, picked it up, and played a bit of the multiplayer. I didn't really get the hype, but again, I was quite late to the hype. I was late to the game, like with a lot of games. I was late to picking it up. Games like the Call of Duty franchise as well. I didn't get Modern Warfare 2 until it had been out for quite a while. There wasn't really many people except for the hardcore sweats playing it. But yeah, just getting that out of the way before I say something stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about, and if anyone gets upset about it, I've covered my backside now. So yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2, a new trailer came out. Gotta admit, it was quite a cool trailer. Cool couple of shots in there. It was saying towards the end of the 1890s that the West was pretty much done, but it's sort of almost maybe the death of the West is what possibly they're trying to go for. So John Marston makes an appearance as well, so he's confirmed for the game itself. But it shows him before he got his scars, and maybe it does the thing that it's a weird sort of comparison, but where Black Ops, which Black Ops was it? I think it was Black Ops 2, where it goes between past and present and jumps between that quite a bit. So it might be that you play as another character that had tie-ins with John Marston, but there's then gone on and maybe he's reliving his past and what he did with him and all that sort of stuff. That's the only thing I could imagine, because obviously at the end of Red Dead 1, I'm pretty sure John Marston died. Again, not to quote me on that, because I have been... Well, I didn't really play the story too much. I had it spoiled for me. But it stuck in my mind that he died at the end in a scene where he basically goes out of a barn or out of his house and just gets gunned down by a bunch of people. So, for people who are fans of it, I'm sure you'll know a lot more than I will. But my friend recently picked it up as well. I don't know if it was a remaster, but I think he picked it up on the PS4 and has been playing it again. And so I know there's going to be a lot of people excited, like a lot. When it was first announced, when the picture was shown, most of my friends were really hyped. I was the only sort of person that was just sort of shrinking into my seat, like I've never really played it, to be honest. But it's a game that's, from what I've heard, been worthy of the praise. Even my old film studies teacher said it was his favourite game of all time, with his favourite genre being spaghetti westerns. So it's crazy that it appealed to so many different people. But it's a good sort of it's a setting that's not really been done to the point that people are bored of it. It's one of those ones that any company could pick up, but you have to do it well, or else you could just kill the entire appeal of that sort of setting. So obviously with Rockstar doing it the first time round, they sort of blew everyone's minds, and now I think it looks like they're set to do again. The game itself, from the gameplay that I saw, it looked incredible. It looked really good. It seemed more like it was the cinematics, but if it's anything like GTA 5, sort of the transition between cinematics and gameplay, they're not really that different. So it'll be really, really, really cool to maybe see a bit more, gameplay at E3 this year. And we've got a date for it as well. I'm pretty sure it's coming out in October. I'll have to double check it, but yeah, I think it comes out October 26th. Yeah, there it is, October 26th. Yeah, just making sure. So yeah, that's going to be something that I imagine the pre-orders will fly out for, and people are going to go crazy for that. The multiplayer will be cool to see as well, and it'll be really sweet to see how big the map is as well, because GTA 5's map was pretty big. You know, it was a pretty big. Los Santos was a pretty big map. So yeah, hopefully they've done really well with that. I mean, it's Rockstar. They've not really ever released a bad game. Like, every time they release a game, people buy it and love it. I mean, GTA 5 is still going strong, and that's been out since Xbox 360. So it'll be cool to see how that goes. And I'll probably pick it up as well. I feel like I missed out on the Red Dead hype, and I'd like to see a bit more of that. So yeah, moving on. Fortnite, the Season 3 ended a couple of days ago. And with that, obviously, Season 4 has kicked up. And as someone who played Fortnite for quite a while, I played PUBG first and then moved to Fortnite. Just because it had come out and everyone was talking about it, and I was like, alright, let's give it a go. I don't really pledge allegiance to one more than the other. I will say that. However, I've probably played more PUBG, to be entirely honest. But anyway, the Battle Royale Season 4 Battle Pass is out, which I've got to say, it looks really cool. You know, I was quite excited when I saw the asteroid or meteorite, whatever it was, for the first time. Actually above the map. I always really like these sort of, like, something's coming sort of events, like in Destiny 2. They did it with the Leviathan in the build-up for the first DLC to be launched, so you could see it from, I can't remember what planet it was. But it was just a really cool thing. So you can see the asteroid in the sky, and then there was the controller vibrations. Apparently gave coordinates to tilted towers, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna destroy tilted towers and kill everyone's, you know, hype spot." In the end, they didn't do that. They actually got rid of Dusty Depot, which, to be honest, I don't really think anyone cares too much, because it was kind of a bit of a rubbish sort of spot anyway. And I'm pretty sure they touched on that a bit when they were talking about what they plan on doing. So I feel like they want to. What they sort of said alludes to them wanting to update the map more frequently as the season goes on. So as opposed to having just the set map for the whole season, they want to change it as they go on. So I feel like they said that they feel like they missed out on, you know, adding things more frequently, and I think that's something that they're going to do more in this season, in Season 4. But there's some pretty cool stuff as well. The theme for Season 4 is sort of like a superheroes as well as street sort of punk sort of attire. I don't really know how to summarise it, but the superhero stuff is really cool. There's some really badass skins. So the Carbide skin looks pretty cool, almost like a sort of a skin tight superhero suit, as well as a bunch of others. There's sprays now, very much like more sort of the Source games on Steam. So a lot of games do have spray sort of emotes in that you can just sort of throw a picture up on a wall and move on. Like Overwatch as well, actually being a more recent example. So that also will be cool. And there's like a final skin, obviously, like last season was the John Wick skin, or the Reaper skin. Everyone knew it was meant to be John Wick, but whatever. So this one is kind of like a jet black, matte black sort of outfit for a character with like red eyes, and, well, you know, it just looks badass. It looks really cool, called Omega. And that's the tier 100 skin, and there's just like a bunch of stuff. Like there's, I don't really know how to sum it all up in one go, but the gliders look really cool as well. So almost like a superhero sort of wing type emblem glider. Obviously there's the new effects as you fall in, so more sort of superhero power based ones and retro sort of ones and whatnot. You know, so they've added a lot of stuff into the game, as well as dances as well. The Boogie Down winner, he had his they had their dance put into it, but because of a public outcry, there was actually a dance called Orange Justice. Now people went crazy for this one kid who just did a really sort of just a stupid dance and entered, and for some weird reason everyone noticed it. It became a bit of a meme in itself, but people pushed it out to the point that they wanted it in the game, and Epic Games actually went, yeah, sure, whatever, and actually put it in as one of the dances. So Orange Justice is a nod of the head to someone who entered the Boogie Down, didn't win, but he won everyone's hearts in the process, I guess, to an extent. But so it's really cool that Epic Games have really sort of looked at the community and what people want, even in that sort of micro aspect. But you can tell that they're really gonna, put some changes in, and I imagine going forward they're going to be listening a lot more to the community as well. So it's really cool. Season 4 is probably going to be really, really big. I thought it'd be hard to, sort of beat the hype that they've had recently. I thought, after that season, it's going to be hard to, keep moving up. But from what I've seen, they've already got people on board. People are already loving it. So fair dues. I mean, they're going to keep going for as long as they can until someone knocks them off the top spot. But now I feel like it's hard for Fortnite to be pushed off the pedestal. They've pretty much made it their own. So yeah, that's Fortnite Season 4. The Battle Pass is out now. I think it's like 900 V-Bucks to get. And you can have like the boost for like 2,800. So yeah, it's not cheap, but if you're looking to just get like a bunch of skins for one set low price, then there you go. It's definitely right up your street. Moving on from Fortnite and a fad almost, we're on to another one where Nintendo's president Shuntaro Furukawa. I can't. This is what happened in the Nintendo video, trying to pronounce all the names before. It was impossible. It took so many takes. Shuntaro Furukawa actually wants to grow the mobile part of Nintendo. So obviously they had so much involvement in Pokemon Go. Obviously I don't think they had any stock in it, or I can't remember what it was, but they lost a lot of stock. Like the stock price for Nintendo just dropped after they announced that they don't have any stakes in Pokemon Go. But I know they had a lot of involvement in it, and that sort of kicked off everything that went after. Obviously there was the Mi Tomo, I think it was, that game, which is cool. It was sort of like just a jokey sort of game where you update your character, you build a room, whatnot. But then obviously since then we've had Mario Kart, we've had obviously more updates to Pokemon Go, we've had Animal Crossing, which went down an absolute treat. It went down a storm. Everybody loved Animal Crossing. They got it at least. And obviously the announcement of Mario Kart not too long ago, Mario Kart Tour, I think it is. It's only gonna grow even more. But I think it's such a volatile sort of place to go in mobile gaming, because anyone can make a mobile game. It's so accessible. It's not like getting your game put on a platform like Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo's eShop. It's pretty much, you make it, you get it okayed, and then it's up. It's almost like the green light on Steam, because some games are absolute garbage, and there's apps that are absolute garbage as well. Some apps that clearly haven't been assessed, clearly haven't really been looked at, but have just been okay to go through. So what Nintendo does now, because obviously he said that he wants to grow the Nintendo mobile gaming side of the company's presence in mobile gaming to about 100 billion yen, which is just shy of $1 billion, which isn't a small amount of money. That is a lot of big name sort of games. And so they want to push into mobile gaming. And obviously mobile gaming has been growing and growing. There's been a lot of games that have been coming out on mobile that people have. There's been like competitive MOBAs on mobile. Obviously the Razer phone, that blew up. So obviously depending on where Nintendo want to go with it, if they want to stick with like iOS, or if they want to move more towards one and the other, it'll be interesting to see what they do, who they sort of pal up with a bit better, Apple or anyone else like Samsung, or obviously anyone on Android. But it's going to be really cool to see what they have. I really liked Pokemon Go, but it was just very, very short-lived. There wasn't enough constant updating, which is I think what let them down. Now they've started doing it. Like Niantic have been putting out a lot of things, like you've got like new Pokemon from each generation coming out, and they're adding Pokemon at a time. They're doing the events like Halloween. They had that Valentine's Day. had events like Dratini, spawn rates are higher between certain hours of the day. So they've done quite a lot to try and get people back in, but these are things that would have helped to almost keep people around. So, you know, having these constant updates would have kept people on, but it just felt like there wasn't an update very, you know, immediately after launch. It felt like there should have been big updates, like monthly. There should have been big changes, new things added. It took them all what felt like a year to add like the baby Pokemon in, and then the next generation. You know, no one even plays anymore. Like, well, I say nobody plays. I know people still play it. I know people who play it, but in terms of its immediate success, it felt like that was the peak, and then it was just all downhill from there. It sort of gradually, you know, it peaked at its launch. It blew all kinds of records. It almost like plateaued, and then slowly sort of fell, but then it just dropped quite quick. Like, people like, who plays it anymore? You know, who cares? So for Nintendo, it's going to be, you know, big to see, you know, what they want to announce, because it's a lot of money that they want to put in. You know, and there's been things in the past that they've put a lot of money into, like the Virtual Boy, or, you know, the Game Boy Advance Micro, or all these sort of things that they put a lot of money into, you know, research and development, all this sort of stuff. Is it really worth it? You know, Satoru Iwata said before he passed, because he was really against it up until the last few years of his life. He'd said in interviews with Wall Street Journal, it's short-term gain, and it's not something that Nintendo wants or necessarily needs. You know, it's just sort of something that will come and pass, and, you know, they don't want to, you know, focus too long on trends. They want to, you know, keep doing what they're doing, which was fair until they realised how essential keep tapping into that was, because they could make money off it. It was more of an ethical standpoint than a business standpoint. Trying to stick to the traditional gaming guns as such, but obviously in his last years he put a lot of work into Pokemon Go. He helped out a lot with that, and then when he passed, and Shintaro Furukawa, I'll never get it, but he's now said he sort of said the extreme opposite of what Iwata was saying, which is, we definitely don't want to do this at his start. And now Furukawa's saying we want to put a lot of money into this, and with the Switch where it's at as well, I feel like they don't need to do mobile gaming, but, you know, if they've got the money, why not? You know, if they can. It's not like they're developing hardware again, they're just utilising something that already exists, another platform, to then push the games. And again, it's not going to make them a lot of money, because the development costs and then the price of apps, because no one's going to want to pay more than £10 for an app on the phone at most. You know, people don't want to pay ridiculous amounts of money for something they won't do long term. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of games they want to put on. Obviously Mario Kart Tour, that's going to be the big new defining one. There was obviously Layton, Professor Layton's daughter game, Lady Layton I think it was called. That sort of went under the radar, but that was out. And, you know, yeah, it'll be cool to see what sort of IPs they want to put on mobile gaming and handheld that they aren't going to put on the Switch. I mean, you're not going to see the main sort of IP games like Pokemon have a fully fledged Pokemon RPG game on mobile. It just won't happen. You know, it'll be spin-offs and mini games that are related to franchises. Maybe they'll, you know, do a virtual console for mobile. You don't know with Nintendo. They could do anything really at this point. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they do. I've got a bit of an older phone. It's an iPhone 5, so I can't play the newer games. So really, it doesn't affect me too much. But I'll be wanting to keep up to date and seeing what they do. And it'll be cool to see as well how they've learned from what they've done. Again, Animal Crossing, Super Mario Run, they all sort of dropped quite quick. You know, the hype was massive. They were in the news, or they were the talk of the town for about a week, and then that was it. They were pretty much gone. So yeah, again, cool to hear it, but it'll be even more interesting to see if they can pull it off. And yeah, so moving on to the next story. Stardew Valley, a game that I really like but have very barely played. Bit of a contradictory statement there, but I have it on both Xbox and PC. And I just haven't sort of found the time to sit down and sort of grind it out, because it's a sort of game that you have to sort of, it's like a Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing sort of vibe from it, where you've just got to sit down and just sink hours into it, but it doesn't have a social aspect like in the slightest. Well, until now, obviously, because Stardew Valley's actually got multiplayer in open beta now, so anyone can play it. And I think there's instructions online how to do it. But yeah, so people have started playing that. People are saying it's great, and it's been teased for quite a while. Concerned Ape on on their Twitter has obviously posted a lot about it in the past, saying they're messing about with it, they're just seeing where it's at, and now it's, you know, we had the month heads up, and now it's dropped. And I saw, I think it was Ray, who was actually playing it on Twitter, a guy called Ray who streams, and it runs really well from what I've seen. Like it seems very well polished, well ironed out. And they didn't seem to be hitting any snags when I saw it, so I imagine it'll be out of beta quite quick, and they'll roll that out onto every different platform. You know, I imagine it's going to be on Steam first for quite a while, and then it will obviously come to consoles later, because it'll be a matter of, you know, how the consoles are going to work that sort of system into their already existing social sort of aspects. So yeah, again, that's something I'm really happy about. It's a game that I've been begging my friend to get, so we can play it together. But something they've added to it that caused a bit of controversy is new scenes that have been added to the game, where you obviously there's like a romance system in it, where you can obviously build up a relationship with someone and then date them, and then from there it's like you can have a kid, you can get married, all that sort of good stuff. Now you could originally get people to, I think it was like a 10 heart sort of event, where you take them out on a date and it builds up the relationship sort of thing. And originally you used to be able to do that with everyone, I think, just to sort of see, you know, what each person's event was like, and then you could choose essentially who you wanted. Now, it's such a weird thing to add in. If you do that, the game actually plays an event where all the people you're talking to sort of gather, or the people you're dating, and they all collectively leave you. Basically meaning that you can only have one dating option at a time. So it's a bit of a weird thing, but it's almost like you get punished for sort of fishing around. So there's two sides to it. There's people saying it's just the game, what's it matter, and other people saying, well, you know, it's never a good thing to cheat. The game doesn't want to obviously promote, you know, cheating in that sense. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where I land on it. I mean, I'm not really too bothered. It's a really cool game as it is, and if that's the sort of direction they want to take it, I imagine it makes the game more cool. I mean, I think it's been added more or less to sort of iron out what it's going to be like having like two people playing in a Stardew town together, but then trying to date the same NPC. I feel like they've had to make a lot of changes to that, because it's no longer going to be just one person trying to, you know, date the NPCs, or, you know, start a relationship with the NPCs. It could be up to like 4 people at once. So they probably had to rework the entire system, not necessarily from the ground up, but changing it so that it is easy to, you know, sort of incorporate more people into it. And just this sort of change is just one that's maybe was decided that, yeah, maybe we should just throw that in there so that people focus solely on one if they're going to multiplayer. Why it's been added to single player, I don't know. But, you know, what you're going to do, it's a thing that they need to keep. They need to keep single player as close to the multiplayer cooperative as possible. And I think they've done it, from what I saw, really well. They've kept single player and multiplayer the exact same experience, but it's enhanced not for multiplayer, but by being played with more people. So you can have just as much fun by yourself, but if you add another person into it, nothing will change except you'll be playing with someone else. So you can experience, you know, Stardew Valley with other people. So again, I'm really looking forward to it coming out officially, the multiplayer. In terms of the controversy, I don't really see the big deal. You know, there's been much weirder things that companies have come out with, or development teams changed. So, you know, I think that'll die down and people will stop caring and whining about it too much. Maybe they'll release a patch that gives you the choice. You know, you can change it. Maybe it's a difficulty, or relationship setting in the game. I don't know. Another story as well, Battlefield 1. It feels like it's getting to that time now before E3 where EA start giving away the DLC for Battlefield, which means obviously the new one's going to be coming out. Battlefield, I'm going to call it Battlefield 5. I think they'll just go very generic, go for that. Because they don't want to make the mistake of Hardline again, which pretty much everybody hated. I mean, I thought it was really cool, but most people hated. So yeah, the first DLC for Battlefield 1, the They Shall Not Pass DLC, is currently free. It's really cool to see EA giving stuff away, but it's not, anything new. That premium pass sort of content is coming out in the build up to another game, because they want to keep people on that game or coming back to the game, so people are like, oh, I can't wait to see what's next. It's a very generic sort of move, but again, welcomed all the same, because it's not just like, it's only up for free temporarily, but it's free for good when you've got it. So if you download it before the 15th of May, you've got it for good, which I think is really cool. Again, they've done it a few times before, but I've always had the pass, so it doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, so grab that whilst you can. That's something really cool. If you've got Battlefield 1 and not the DLC, you've got nothing to lose. So yeah, there's that. And finally, the last story of this episode is the second DLC for Destiny 2. That's been shown off a bit more in a Twitch stream with the Bungie team. It looks pretty cool. I mean, I wanted to get back into Destiny 2, but the game itself has sort of fizzled out almost. It made the same mistakes as the first game that they said they weren't going to repeat. It's just the way that the game's gone. But anyway, it's going to be called the Warmind DLC, and there's obviously the new raid lair, and then they've said that it's going to be the last raid lair in the Leviathan. So obviously there's the main raid with, I can't remember his name. But yeah, you do the first, obviously you got the main raid, but then you've got the raid lairs, which are like the smaller sort of raids for different sort of pieces of armor and whatnot, and different quests and exotics that come up. And so the final raid lair is apparently going live on Friday, May the 11th at 10 AM Pacific time. And yeah, apparently if you purchase the Warmind expansion, you have 3 days basically to prepare for the raid lair. So I mean, I haven't personally seen much about it. I did drop in on the multiplayer part of the stream, which was really cool. But yeah, it's sick because the actual DLC itself for Warmind comes out on May the 8th. So it's been quite a quick turnaround from sort of showing it off to launching it. It'll be about just over a week and a half possibly for them to have shown it in more depth to actually launching it. See, obviously the last one was Curse of Osiris. Warmind, it looks really cool. I've always liked the Warmind sort of aesthetic. The Warmind missions are usually my favourite as well, just because it just looks really cool. But yeah, so that's obviously coming out soon. Maybe it'll bring people back to Destiny. Maybe this is just, they're going to launch this, and then at E3 they're going to say, here's the second DLC pass. And then everyone will probably, I don't know if people are going to go for it this time around. Maybe people will, maybe people won't. It's just, it's a matter of seeing what people are thinking this time, because everyone fell for it again, pretty much. I bought everything they said. I thought it was going to be a different game to Destiny 1, and it just wasn't. I actually had more fun on Destiny 1. I haven't enjoyed Destiny 2 anywhere near as much as I enjoyed Destiny 1. I don't think I've actually completed the raid on Destiny 2 yet, which really says something, because I've played Destiny 2 quite a lot, and I just haven't found a team good enough to do it, or sort of people that time-wise can do it. But yes, I mean, it's going to be cool. May the 8th, the Warmind DLC comes out. I've waited quite a while for it, but it feels like there's been too much time now. Too much time has passed. And then obviously 3 days later, it's going to be the new DLC. So people, the new raid layer. So people who have played through the campaign, who have die-harded it, I imagine it won't take long to complete the story. The DLC stories never are that long. But yeah, that pretty much sums up everything I wanted to talk about. It'll be interesting to see if anyone who listens to this or watches it, if you have any ideas on what you'd want to, see out of any of the things we talked about. There's a lot of, stuff that's coming out, happening. There's a lot all up in the air, and it's in the build up to E3. This is a sort of time where, all the games companies start, making announcements in preparation for, so that they've, people think, oh, that's what they've got, and then they can pull out even more out of the sleeves. I'm hinting at Nintendo. I'm so excited for E3. But yeah, if you have watched this, thank you for watching or listening. And yeah, keep your eyes peeled. There may be another video coming soon, talking a bit more about Xbox, and another talk video as well. Hopefully we might be able to get a guest on that, but I won't say any more about that. Just subscribe, like, do whatever, do all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next episode of The Game Paradigm. Thank you for listening.